Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where I am going to continue to talk about Paladin Cecil, the next character to be receiving an LD and a BT weapon. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because yesterday's video for Paladin Cecil I felt like was not my best quality in-depth video for him. And the reason I say this is because I had a few people in the comment section on that video let me know that it was not my best quality in that video because I felt like I could have added more, or they felt like I could have added way more, and you know what, they was right. I felt like I definitely could have added way more to that video. I could have probably summarized everything a little bit more easier. I probably could have added more of my personal thoughts on Paladin Cecil, and I could have added more. I could have added where Paladin Cecil could shine in like upcoming Lufenia fights, future Lufenia fights, etc, etc. So I just want to first off say that I apologize for the quality of that video. I don't feel like it was up to par for people to watch, because the main thing that people are looking for is to get an answer as to whether or not people should pull for Paladin Cecil or not, which, you know, of course, for my type of videos, for my in-depth videos, I don't tell people to pull or to not to pull for a character. I just provide the information that people would like to know so that they themselves can determine whether or not they should pull for said new character or said new weapon, etc, etc. I don't feel like I am in the right to tell people what to do, because it is your own gameplay, it is your own game. You know your account more than I know your account, so it's much easier for me to just provide said information, and then you can figure out as the player whether or not said character, weapons, etc, etc would be good enough for your game. So again, I apologize. For future in-depth videos, I will make sure that the quality of them will be up to par with the standards that I set myself upon, and the standards that you as a viewer would like to see from the video that I create for y'all. So again, apologies. I will do my very best in future in-depth videos. So let's talk about Paladin Cecil. This video is mainly to talk about some of the upcoming Lufenia fights where Paladin Cecil could shine. Now, I have been provided a big amount of information for some of the upcoming Lufenia fights, some future Lufenia fights, and also I have been provided with some Lufenia fights where Paladin Cecil will not do good at all because of, well, for certain reasons. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire list of everything. I'm going to just briefly go through some of the ones that I feel like are more notable, so that way you can have a better understanding as to like how far will Paladin Cecil last as a character, and the longevity of his kit. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And before I continue, a big shout out to my friend Eons for helping me in getting all of this information to y'all, so that way you know where Paladin Cecil shines and does not shine. And what I will also do is I will post it down in a pinned comment of this video, so if you are curious to know some of the fights that I do not talk about in this video, I will post that information down in a pinned comment on this video. So thank you to Eons, you are freaking amazing. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So in the upcoming raid event that is coming to global, the Hell Worm is what you're going up against, and that it will also come with the release of Paladin Cecil's LD and BT weapon. So obviously the fight is tailored to him. Now the thing about that fight is that the enemy does like doing some high HP damage. Now other options for that fight, if you do not wish to use Paladin Cecil, or you're going to bring Paladin Cecil to avoid any of those high HP damage fights, would be either using like Osceola, maybe Yuffie, or you can use Osceola and Yuffie to try to help against fighting the Hell Worm from the Paladin Cecil raid. The first floor for Transcendence is a great option for Paladin Cecil to be used. Really that floor is mainly tailored around Paladin Cecil because he is a great option to use on the right gate for the first floor on Transcendence because of the holy condition. And then the final fight in that floor, the enemy does some very high HP damage, and Paladin Cecil would be great on that fight, and also because of the 4 HP requirement that is needed in the final stage of the first floor Transcendence. The Death's Lost Chapter Lufenia fight. The bosses have high brave reduction, and they also do high HP damage. All of his skills target all enemies. Now the thing with that fight is that with Paladin Cecil, obviously with his LD ability, it will increase your HP with the HP overflow, but not only that, the burst effect will definitely help out against that brave reduction from the enemies. The Edward Lufenia Lost Chapter fight, where the high brave damage from his burst effect can really help out because there is a 50 turn limit on that Lufenia fight, and you need to destroy them as quickly as possible. So that burst effect from Paladin Cecil can really help out in that fight. Now these next fights that I'm going to mention, they can be used, but it's not a top pick for these Lufenia fights. A few of them would be the Act 3 Chapter 4 Part 1 Lufenia fight, where Yuna gets her LD and a BT weapon. Paladin Cecil is an option, but it's not really a top pick because most likely you're going to be using other characters. By the time we get into that area of the game on global, there's going to be many other characters that are most likely going to be used instead of Paladin Cecil, but he could be used as an LD call. Another one would be the Rude Lost Chapter Lufenia fight. Transcendence floor, the 4th floor. If you did not use him in the 1st floor, which I mean, most likely a lot of players are going to be using Paladin Cecil in the 1st floor. But if you did not use him, he's an option to use on Transcendence 4. The Zande Lufenia fight is another option where you can use them there, but most likely you're going to be using other characters because in that Lufenia fight, if I am not mistaken, they have to get broken or break status, and at that point Zell gets his LD weapon, and Zell most likely would be a top pick for that Lufenia fight. But again, LD call, or Paladin Cecil could be used as support. And then Act 3 Chapter 4 Part 2, where Vivi and JP got his rework and his LD. The first wave is weak to Holy, but the second wave needs to take high fire damage, so it's kind of like you can mainly use him as an LD call, or I mean, if you want to bring him as support, you can, but I mean, like, the second wave is where fire damage is definitely needed, and Vivi is an option there, or a few other characters in game. And then of course, when it comes to Lufenia Plus, yeah, he's definitely not a top choice for Lufenia Plus because of how crazy difficult it has been lately with Lufenia Plus and all of these shenanigans that we have had to deal with as of lately. So, and then of course the obvious ones would be like those that absorb Holy, has a counter against like Holy, Empower Immunity. You know, obviously Paladin Cecil would not be the best option for said fight. So after looking into some of the fights that I've mentioned and in the list that I will post down in a pinned comment, it should give you somewhat of an idea as to how viable Paladin Cecil is. From what I remember, the amount that I used him in JP was probably at least maybe 2 to 3 months, probably a little bit more than that, just depending on which fight it is that I was able to tackle. But I mean, like, one of the good things about him is definitely his BT effect, with the fact that you are able to increase the brave damage dealt, overflow limit, and you obviously with that you get the whole package, HP overflow whenever you go into the burst phases, and you know, there's a couple other things to it. But in general though, I mean, that burst effect is what really helps out against some of the upcoming brave reduction that we are going to be encountering in global. Now it's not going to be anywhere near the level of JP where they are at right now, but in the global side, I mean, having just an effect like that now to help you against any type of reduction will definitely be a big plus. Now, if you by chance decide that you want to hold off on him, I would recommend at least getting the LD, because the LD really does help out a lot with the free skill usage, and especially you can take advantage of the free skill usage to make sure that you are able to enchant the party with Holy, so that way everybody is doing that extra brave damage. Other than that, though, the other character that you can probably compare, but not entirely, would be Yustola. Whenever she gets her LD and her BT, she has some similarities to Paladin Cecil, but not entirely. There are a few differences between them, and we already know that Yustola is one of the first few characters to get a BT+, and from what we have seen, she is an extremely great support unit as a BT+ character. But of course, that is months away. So I mean, in between then and now, I mean, you have options. You have a couple of options. You know, and so on and so forth. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this video kind of gave you an extra add-on to decide whether or not you are going to pull for Paladin Cecil. Hopefully you found it informative. Hopefully it was a little bit more better than my previous video where I kind of just like read off everything and whatnot. So other than that, though, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video.